I was eating like twice as many calories as I normally do, but I was still hungry for because there was no protein, there was no fat or anything.
Shawn, how did you find carnivore?
Um, I found carnivore through I think Dr. Berry, like most people, and Shawn Baker as well. But that was quite a few years ago, back when when I first started trying out keto. I followed Thomas D. Lauer for keto for quite a while, and I kind of fell off of keto. I saw some success, probably about 15, 20 pounds, but that was back in 2019, maybe 2018, something like that.
How did you move from keto to carnivore though? Or so you went on keto, you fell off, and then what happened then? What was the thing that made you go on?
Yeah, so I fell off of keto because back in 2020, I got a phone call from my mom that she got diagnosed with cancer, and so I quit my job and went home to help her and take care of her. And of course, I come home and there's all that stress, and of course, I didn't follow keto. I went pretty much off the rails, just whatever, eating everything. Um, and then she passed, and she passed 3 months after her diagnosis from stage 4 bladder, liver, and lung cancer. Um, so yeah, whenever after she passed, I binged on everything for a good 2 months. Drinking, smoking, binge eating, and after a while, I decided that I needed to get my life back on track, and so I started the job that I'm still at right now. And of course, I talk about it all the time. Truck driving is the most unhealthy profession in America, pretty much. So of course, I gained a bunch of weight, and by around 2022, um, I started to think about keto again and started watching Dr. Berry again. And then I think he was starting on carnivore. That was back when he was starting to talk about it more. And then I discovered your channel too. Um, and of course, a handful of others. And so January of 2022, I decided to start carnivore, and I did it for a month. I quit smoking too. That was the first time I quit smoking. Uh, and so I did carnivore for about a month, and then I went home and fell off the wagon again because that's how I used to do my work schedule was be on the road for a month and home for a week. And so, of course, all the temptations out of home. Uh, but luckily, I hauled out on smoking for a couple of months after that. But I did start smoking again mid 2022. Um, and during that, like, I want to say 6, 7 months, I ballooned up. I was at my heaviest, I want to say 260 to 250 pounds. I was afraid to weigh myself, to be honest. So I can't really tell you exactly what I weighed before I started carnivore of January 23, which is so yeah. I decided to start carnivore of January 2023 again this year, and again quit smoking while giving up all the carbs and sugar. And that was rough. That was real rough. I remember one time it was like about a week into quitting smoking. I was up in the I was up in the mountains of Vermont, like BFE, and I was just if I had hair, I would have been pulling it out. So I was like, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna get a pack of cigarettes. I'm gonna get a cheeseburger. I was at the breaking point, but luckily I was probably about 2 hours from civilization. So by the time I got out of Vermont into like upper upstate New York, where I could stop and relax, or possibly get some food or cigarettes. But yeah, by that time I got there, I all my cravings had subsided, and it's been smooth sailing since then. I haven't been like that craven for a cigarette since then. But yeah, so about 2 months into my carnivore diet, I decided to start up my YouTube channel, and I try to make content aimed towards other truck drivers. Um, just try to be an example for other drivers to be like, hey, you don't have to get all the junk and crap that's at the truck stops. And even if you have no choice but to stop at the truck stop and get something to eat, I have videos on like how to eat carnivore at the truck stops. So I try to like show people that they can do it. And um, I've gone on many rants talking about seeing all these truck drivers get out of their trucks, and they're obese, and their ankles and lower legs are all swollen up, obviously diabetic. And I just want to, it makes me want to do something. So that's why I started my YouTube channel, and here I am.
Can you give me an example of, because my initial impression is if you're in the truck all the time, eating carnivore is going to be pretty difficult. So could you give us an example of how you eat on a day-to-day basis when you're on the road?
Yeah. I meal prep when I can remember. Sometimes I don't remember and get lazy. Okay, so for the days where I don't meal prep, I'll get some like beef jerky. Uh, there's a couple of spots, a couple of brands of beef jerky that I will eat because like they don't have any of the sugar or any of that extra crap in there. Um, there's a spot in Arizona, Lupton, Arizona. It's a native-owned truck stop, and they have like a little tourist attraction there. Um, they have a general store, and they sell like uh, 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 sorry, brain fart, bison, buffalo, and all that sort of really good beef jerky. So I always like to stop by there. So whenever I do remember to meal prep, I have a little scale, and I'll weigh out a pound of ground beef and just kind of pack it into a hamburger patty, and I'll cook those usually about 5 pounds at once, and put them in a Ziploc bag, and I'll just throw them up on the passenger seat while I'm driving, and chew on those while I'm driving, and that's how I do it. I usually try to eat um, once a day, one meal a day, but usually takes about 2, maybe 3 hours to get it all down. Usually about 2 pounds of meat. Um, on the weekends is when I go for my steaks and salmon fillet, whatever extra like chicken stuff like that. But for the most part, it's ground beef, and then a little bit of steak on the weekends. My favorite cut is the London broil. Uh, Dave, I don't know if you know that cut, but it's very, yeah, yeah, it's very thick and very lean. I usually eat it with a side of like half a stick of butter to make up with the fat, but it's my favorite cut. I think it's a thicker bottom round cut, if you know that cut of meat. Yeah, yeah.
And so how long are you on the road typically? So we talking days? So if you do prep, you're going to have to do quite a bit of prep?
Yeah. Typically I have about a week's worth of meat with me at all times. Um, I used to have on the top bunk up here, I used to have a mini freezer. I think it's almost a 2 gallon mini freezer, but after about 4 or 5 years on the road, getting all the potholes, it finally gave out on me. So now I'm dealing with just my regular fridge. Um, that little fridge does have a mini freezer, but I can only fit like two of those 3 pound logs of ground beef in there. So that space is limited. But typically, I'm on the road for at least a month and then home for a week. Here lately, just because I want to make some more money. Here lately, like the last time I was home was August, and I'm not gonna be home until November, mid-November. But I'm taking 2 weeks vacation off, almost three. So I'm looking forward to my vacation time. Let's just say that. But yeah, I'm just doing it for the money, get a little extra money.
You mentioned kind of mid 2023, you weren't sure of your weight, but you were up to about you were up to at least 250, 260. What what has happened now that you've been on carnivore with your weight and with other improvements? What other improvements have you seen?
Well, that was January 2023. But yeah, besides weight loss, body composition, um, obviously have more energy. Um, my fatty liver, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I haven't gotten back to the doctor to confirm that it's gone, but it doesn't bother me one bit anymore. It's actually what sparked my weight loss journey. Like that's what sparked me to go to keto in the first place was that diagnosis. Um, but anyway, I would say mental clarity, but I'm. It seems like I'm never have that mental clarity, but it's a little bit improved. um, that my depression is gone for the most part. It comes back every now and then, but I've dealt with depression pretty much as far back as I can remember, and that's gone away with carnivore, and that's a major thing for me. Also, stress management. Being a truck driver is obviously a very stressful job. Um, I used to say that was part of the fun of being a truck driver, never knowing where you were going to go next, which in a way it was. That's true. It's like I am kind of an adventurous person, but now it's kind of like looking back, it's like, yeah, now that I think about it, remembering like all that high anxiety of like trying to go down this old country road, not sure if I'm going the right direction, if I'm even supposed to be on this road, trying to get to the shipper, stuff like that was very stressful. And back when I was smoking, I was chain smoking through all that, trying to. I remember being very anxious and uh, smoking a lot just because of that. But now it's well, for one, I have an easier route, so I know exactly where I'm going all the time, which, to be honest, is kind of boring in compared to going everywhere around the states like I was. But it's better, and there's still stress from, of course, just driving in general. There's you know, people cut you off, flip you off, all brake check you. Like it's crazy out here sometimes. It depends on the city, Phoenix. Um, but anyway, yeah, and of course there's the extra stresses of like uh, getting to your shipper or delivery, and something went wrong out of your control. Like I was misscheduled. Like I'm a day early or an hour late, and if I'm an hour late, sometimes it's like, hey, you have to call and get rescheduled, and that'll take another day. And stuff like that before used to be like world shattering. Like, oh God, it's my paycheck, which it's still true. It is still my paycheck, but it's not like as world shattering as that used to be, it's like, great, all right, I guess I'll do something productive like meal prep or I don't know, record a video, something like that. So yeah. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, one thing I've noticed, um, just looking back at old pictures is my complexion. Uh, People always talk about what's the word? What's the word? Anemic, low iron. Um, I think I was because like my skin complexion has darkened a little bit since going carnivore. Like I was definitely paler on the SAD diet. Um, I don't hardly get any blemishes or anything unless I eat dairy. Dairy gives me cystic acne, like on my body, like my chest or my back, stuff like that. Um, yeah, and on carnivore, you just learn a little bit more. You're a little bit more in tune to stuff like that. So, I think that's about all I can think of for the positive benefits of carnivore.
Sure. So, going forward,
Mhm.
for you personally, what's the goal? I remember talking to you a few weeks ago, and you were talking about trying to do 100 push-ups a day and things like that. So, how's that going? And what are your goals, kind of health, fitness wise, going forward?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't done a single push up. uh, yeah, I keep saying it, but I do need to start working out. I really do. But going forward, my goal, I still haven't reached my goal weight, which I'm very close. My goal weight is just to be under 200 pounds. I haven't been under 200 pounds since I was a teenager. Uh, so yeah, once I get that, then I'm gonna start probably focusing on body composition. Uh, Probably I need to start working out. I keep saying that. I've been procrastinating. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, just getting healthier, focusing on that. I maybe start introducing some foods, see what I can get away with, that sort of thing. And with my YouTube channel, I've been focusing on more truck driver related content. Like I did a review of a truck stop recently, and I've got I've discovered some other carnivore truckers, and I'm trying to get them together for some live streams and make some content aimed towards truck drivers, and that's what my goal is here in for the time being. And outside of YouTube, just working as hard as I can to save up uh, for land and property. I want to buy a house, so just stuff like that, you know.
Nice. So, what kind of response have you had on your channel from other truckers? Are you getting truckers in as your audience? And are they like, "What are you doing? This is crazy," or how's that going?
No, I haven't gotten any crazy comments asking what I'm doing, but I have noticed I'm starting to get a little bit of a crowd of truck drivers. They're far and in between, but they're there. I know they are. um, just kind of I think most of us carnivores on YouTube share pretty much the same audience, so it's our regular audiences, and then a couple of truck drivers that I've noticed. They mostly hit me up on like Instagram and Facebook, and I've seen a couple on YouTube that I'm trying to reach out to.
So, what do you think one of the biggest stumbling blocks are for someone who's doing in your line of work? Is
Mhm.
it is it something like schedule? and they're just so focused on meeting that schedule that it's just much easier to go into the truck stop or something and buy the potato chips and whatever and just continue eating while you're driving. Is it something like that?
Oh yeah, that's definitely a major part of uh, the health of truck drivers because if we're not moving, we're not making money. We get paid by the mile, so yeah, that's a big part of it. Like I've seen, I've heard from other drivers, like anecdotally out on the road, that like they can't do keto or they can't meal prep or anything because they don't have any time, and the, it's just frustrating, you know. And especially when they say like, oh, I can't give up my bread or my pasta or whatever, and I'm just like, oh, stop it. But yeah, that is a major thing, and that's why I try to show people how they can eat at the truck stops because it's all this crap that they sell, and it's all crap. That's why I do what I do is show people, be an example of how you can manage your time and meal prep and you know take your health into your own hands. Like for example, I know my spots along my route, like the WalMarts that have the trucks parking. I know the all the spots like that. So I'll try to schedule um, my lunch breaks to park at that Walmart and then take my 30-minute lunch break, go in, get my groceries, and then hit the road again. And it's little stuff like that that you can do to manage your time. Like if you're at a door back, you have your trailer backed into a door to get unloaded. You can, especially if they're taking a long time, you can meal prep. It only takes 15-20 minutes. Little things like that. Uh, and when you're fat adapted and used to carnivore, you don't really need to eat all that much anymore. So things definitely get easier, uh, especially if you get used to eating one meal a day. I You can run all day, maybe meal prep something on your lunch break, and then eat it after you're done for the day, or um, cook something at the end of the day, put it in the fridge, and eat it for breakfast if that's what you want to do. So yeah,
I,
there's go ahead.
I guess the time management thing is a really big message to try and get across because despite maybe you spend more time up front getting things ready or more time in the meal prep and stuff like that, you actually end up saving time. As you say, you can go on one meal a day. So you're not stopping all the time to get a new snack to go forward. So if you're eating, I don't know, bag of potato chips and some other junk that you picked up from the truck stop, the trouble is it's going to fill you up and you're going to feel all nice and happy about it, but you're also going to feel hungry much more sooner, so you're going to have to make another stop, right?
Yeah, yeah. The only reason I stop anymore is for coffee or some sparkling water. But to uh, to kind of to that point, I had a recent slip. I pretty much binged ate whatever I wanted for a week, and kind of to your point, I because I've been carnivore for so long, I know my real hunger cues, and eating like the cakes and all donuts and all that crap, it's not satiating at all, like at all. So I was eating like twice as many calories as I normally do, but I was still hungry for because there was no protein, there was no fat or anything. So it's I don't know how to explain it. It's just you're always hungry when you eat the carbs and the sugar, and I was recently reminded of that. So, but I'm back on the wagon, back on carnivore. So
Nice. Yeah, I think um, it was Alia Wells that said this. It's literally just mouth pleasure, right? It's
Yeah,
like once it's past your lips, or you've swallowed it, that's it. There's no further benefit to it from there, you know?
yeah. That was the feeling I got. Was it was just, oh, I get to eat something sweet, dopamine. It wasn't satisfying.
So can you tell us how can we find your channel?
Just look up the Carnivore Trucker. My Instagram is also the Carnivore Trucker, and my Facebook is Shawn Owens Carnivore Trucker. I have a community page there as well.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man.